us today, and thanks to Katie and Leap Compliance for putting this together. Just to state up front that this is very much a taster session on AI tools, and while I would love to go into more detail ad nauseum, my friends, family and colleagues warn me not to. So if you want to discuss anything in this presentation in more detail, please do get in touch after via email or pop an appointment in my calendar. Also, we're going to talk about some commercially available tools, and as Katie has mentioned, if you've got specific questions on those, please pop them in the chat, because we have representatives here from at least both MedBoard and Evidence. And thanks to MedBoard, Evidence and Distiller, who have provided answers to a lot of questions. MedBoard and Evidence also allowed me to use free trial versions of their software, and they've been very generous with their time answering questions. Okay, so after this presentation, I'm also going to provide you with the slides. So don't worry about taking notes, etc. And I know Katie's going to send you on the recording. So I'm also going to provide you with a prompt template that's tailored towards regulated industry, and then a template for a data security and AI use agreement. So the prompt generator might be useful for everyone, at least while learning to generate good prompts. And if any of you get to the point when you're designing, say, multi-agent systems, fine-tuning the prompt can really be the difference between, for example, your agent being able to interact with the FDA public API and it being blocked because your request is too big, which is something that I struggled with for a little while, for a few weeks there. So the agreement is really just for small business owners out there that don't already have something in place. It might be useful, it might not be. Please feel free to use it, adjust it, whatever you need to do. So I'll be focusing on my journey with AI in medical device compliance, both as a small business owner and as a QA RA lead for a startup company. But I believe the principles we'll cover are valuable across any regulated industry. And I know this can feel like a huge, intimidating topic. So my own journey started with a lot of caution. So as a consultant, putting any client information into a tool that I couldn't guarantee was secure was a non-starter. But things have changed, and that's the story I want to share today. So how we can move from a place of caution to one of cautious confidence, using these incredibly powerful tools in a safe way to make our jobs easier without compromising on the quality and integrity that our industries demand. Okay, so to give you some context on my perspective, my career hasn't always been in the straightest of lines. I started in frontline healthcare, moved to a notified body where I saw the regulatory challenges firsthand, and then into a large global IT consultancy as a life science specialist. It was there that I got my first real taste of AI at a company hackathon, and got to see the team building a working prototype of a source-grounded, secure AI tool for a bank over a 4-week period. So this was my first introduction to retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, which we'll come back to later. I had already begun focusing on the emerging AI Act at the time, and ended up presenting on it at a large industry conference in Dublin on behalf of Expleo. But I was definitely more focused on how that would impact the medical devices that are incorporated AI, what the technical documentation requirements would be, etc. And I can safely say that up to that point, I really wasn't thinking about the impact of the AI on my own internal workflows at all. So ultimately, I missed the hands-on regulatory work, and that led me to put that whole idea on the back burner, start my own consultancy, also take on a QA RA role that was more days a week than I, strictly speaking, wanted, and juggle multiple roles enough to consider cloning myself. And that brings me back to where we are now. Okay, so before we dive in too far, let's establish a common language. So again, we're not going to go through all of these. I'll skip through a few slides where you can use them for your own reference later. So we'll get in, we'll just run through a couple of the important definitions. So general purpose AI or GPAI models. So these are powerful, versatile models like GPT-4 that can be adapted for many tasks. So when you interact with an application like ChatGPT, you're using a GPAI system. So crucially for us, there is retrieval augmented generation or RAG. So this is where the AI is grounded in your specific documents, preventing it from making things up or hallucinating. And then there are providers, deployers. So those are two terms that you'll see in the AI Act, and everyone should be familiar with those for if you just do decide to place an AI tool on the market. And then AI agents. So an AI agent is an autonomous program that can use tools to perceive its environment and take actions to achieve goals. Okay, so that is mostly it for the terminology. So that's as technical as we're going to get on the regulatory side. Okay, so before you think about using any type of AI tool or really any type of software in general, two things are really critical. You really need to know your technical context. So if you aren't a decision maker, then use your words, ask what's our policy, what platform do we use? I mean, it may be obvious that you're a 365 organization. That's the kind of default for big business, but that's changing a little bit. So some smaller and medium-sized businesses have transitioned over to, say, Google Workspace. So, if you don't know, then ask, and there may already be an AI policy in place. If you're in a smaller business or a startup, you may be closer to that decision and closer to being able to influence that decision as well. So ask around, ask questions, have a look under the hood of your agreements and things like that, and make sure you understand what it is that the context of your organization is from a technical perspective. And then the second really important part is understanding and categorizing your data. So this really is a critical first step. So not all data is equally sensitive. So is it highly sensitive patient health information, or is it customer information like a bank would have that would allow someone to access someone's bank accounts or something? If it is, then that's highly sensitive, and you really would only want to use that within a very secure environment, and you'd want to be using an on-premise private AI. But that's really only a limited subset of data. Medium sensitivity, so we're talking your general contents of tech files, internal audit reports. Now this doesn't mean you throw them willy-nilly into ChatGPT. So you really do need to be using these within a secure enterprise environment. So if you've got approved tools within your organization, you should be able to use these type of documents in these secure tools, and it should be fine. But again, if you've already got an AI use policy, check that and check what it allows you to do and not do. But there shouldn't be any reason why you can't, because if you're using tools that are approved within your organization, it should just be using it within that kind of secure enterprise environment and not sending it out to the internet. You do need to be cautious about kind of added connections you might add on, but generally in an enterprise environment, you're not in charge of that. So it be limited ability to download and add things on. So then for low sensitivity, we're talking public regulations, articles, anything like that. You really can use that in any tool that you want. So as long as your organization isn't blocking it, you can feed ChatGPT with as much publicly available information as you want and use that tool in whatever way you want. I mean, obviously you don't want to be typing in your organization's sensitive environment, sensitive information into it, or cutting and pasting anything like that into it. But you can do a lot of research using publicly available tools. Okay, so let's have a look at how you go about using some of these tools right now. So this is very basic, but these are some practical examples of using these tools that may be publicly available to us. So we're going to concentrate on the Microsoft 365 environment and the Google Workspace environment. So, for example, this is extremely simple, but a new team member joins the organization. Your 365 and SharePoint are actually linked to your tools. So you're actually able to ask, they're able to ask questions about, say, for example, explain our CAPA process and show me where to find the initiation form. Obviously, that would mean that your QMS documents need to be on SharePoint, but there are publicly available APIs for all of the big providers of QMS solutions. So you're actually able to link most of those up in real time. So Viva would be one of the big ones that uses a publicly available API. So that would just be one extra step to add that into your tool. Google Workspace, has very similar capabilities, and it's all joined up via the Workspace. An example of something very simple that you could do that is very relevant for medtech is you could compare your guidance documents. Actually, you could do this in ChatGPT as well, because again, these are publicly available documents, and conveniently the MDCG doesn't release red lines of documents, unlike, say, the EMA. So you kind of have to do the change tracking yourself. So you can pop them in there, have a look at what the actual delta is. So allowing you to bypass hours of manual comparison. Something I've used a lot of is using AI as a tech tutor. So this is where you basically are using AI to teach you how to do things that are not anything to do with AI, but that actually allow you to take advantage of the functionality that's already there. Like, how many people have actually used all of the functionality that's available through Microsoft automations or anything like that? I know for me, I would get to a certain point and then I'd get stuck, and then that would be that. Whereas you can actually use AI to walk you step by step through the process. When you get stuck, feed in your errors. It will tell you where you're going wrong. And then you can, quite easily set up complex formulas in Sheets or various different automations through the Microsoft automation tools. I want to show you an interesting tool that I use a lot. So I'm actually going to share my own notebook from my desktop. So this is Notebook LM. It's a freely available tool from Google. It's available to everyone. You don't need to be on Workspace, as far as I know. And what it is, it gives you access to source-grounded AI directly here in the screen. So this is just one of my notebooks. I'm not going to show you all of them because some of them have client information on it, but this is just a random notebook I set up last night, essentially. So I added some sources last night, and pretty much populated it with lots of different information on Annex 16, regulating non-medical brain stimulation, which is not a project I'm working on, so I really don't mind everyone looking at it. But what you can do is you put in all this documentation, and then it doesn't go off and search the internet. It just searches these documents here. It pulls them together, and in this area here, you can either put questions into it. So here I've said, how long can these technologies remain on the market in the EU? And it's pulled all of the information out of the documentation to give the timelines for those type of devices being able to remain on the market. So you can go through as many questions as you want. You can create an audio overview, so it records it in kind of a podcast form. And I have been known to sit on my exercise bike and listen to this, just as a starter, a kickoff at a kickoff to a project where I just want to have a broad idea of what something is about. You can also get it to produce timelines. So I did one of these earlier. So I literally pressed a button and said, give me a timeline of the main events. And it basically spelled out the timeline of main events in the field of neuromodulation, ethics and regulation in every jurisdiction, all the way up to the current day. It also gave a list, which I didn't ask of, a cast of characters. So it explains, gives a background of everyone who is cited in this. So you can have a really good look through this and make sure all of these people are actually know what they're talking about, and have, reasonable credentials, etc. Yes, so it's extremely powerful. You can also create mind maps. So if you learn visually, you can go through the different parts of, so go straight to key takeaways, impact on risk management, go to different parts of it. So for visual thinkers, this is really, really useful. Okay, I think that's enough of that, Lisa. Right, so on to the next piece. So yeah, so we're going to deep dive into the everyday AI assistants. So again, we're looking here still at Microsoft 365 Copilot and Gemini. So we've already looked at Notebook LM. Let's have a look at what 365 offers you in Copilot. So when you go into Word, straight from the taskbar, you can open Copilot, and then it gives you a list of questions that are kind of suggested questions, or you can add a prompt in yourself. Now, this is just what's available within Word itself. When you go into something like Excel, because Excel itself is actually such a powerful tool, it can give you quite a lot of information. So for example, here, I just uploaded a data set of an export of some literature reviews. But you can, in the same way, get Copilot will come up in your sidebar. You can get it to think deeply about it, and you can ask it to, say, for example, use Python and give you data analysis. So the automation pulls it really does what it does the analysis, but it also explains the data as you're going along. So personally, I've used a combination of this and automated scripts that AI taught me to write to streamline the NC and CAPA process in the company where I'm quality lead. So I'm obviously not going to show you that. So the automation pulls the raw data at set intervals from the diffuse systems where the data is held. So examples can be Jira, various Excel workbooks, etc., and compiles it into one place. And then you can either run the Python-enabled analysis, as you saw there on the data set. If you've got new questions you want to ask the data, if it's the same questions all the time, you don't even really need the AI for that part. You just get your data visualizations from the data sets and use summarization features to explain it in words for use in reports for your quality reviews. You can also use it to summarize the status of a particular corrective action based on the documents reviewed. So if you've got a pile of documents that are to do with a specific CAPA, for example, in a folder, you can get it to summarize everything in there, so you can kind of see the status. So it's pretty neat. If you want to create more complex agents within 365, the kind of the developer tool that's within that studio is within 365 is Copilot Studio. So that is very powerful, a little bit more complex. So that would, you need to have a certain amount of technical knowledge to be able to use that. But Microsoft has some excellent learning tools that are available to everyone as well. And I will actually, I'm sharing a resource with you as well. It's a very affordable Udemy course that has some really great information on it on 365, ChatGPT, Python, and kind of the underlying data analysis and visualizations. So if anyone's interested in learning more, that is extremely comprehensive. Okay, so when we go on to Google, Workspace has a lot of the same features, possibly a little more joined up. So Gemini and Workspace lets you kind of directly access your folders. It also allows you access to the specific gems. So gems is what they call your purpose-built kind of agents that you've built. So I don't know, in ChatGPT you can save your own kind of purpose-built chats, and you can save knowledge to them, and you can give them their own system prompts. You can do the same in Gemini Chat in your Workspace, and then those gems actually become available to you within your Workspace as well. So you can use it to analyze your folders. You can use it to run searches of your QMS documents, etc., as well as also still being able to use them within Gemini Chat. Then you have Google AI Studio, which is their version of Copilot. It actually is the first thing in AI that really blew my mind. So if you want to go there, if you have access to Google Workspace and you have access to AI Studio, it really is just an outstanding piece of technology. Okay, so what we're going to look at next is the first thing I ever got AI to help me with when it came to regulatory. So this is an app script that I developed with the help of AI. I got it to tell me how to program it. So it automates a gap analysis in a Google sheet, takes the selected requirements, analyzes them, and then populates. You can either do line by line, or you can do the whole thing together, go off and make a cup of tea and come back. Now, obviously, you've got a human in the loop step here, so you need to say whether there's a gap or not, or what the severity is, and put a recommendation in here. But then afterwards, once the sheet is filled up, you've already provided a template in the background as part of the script, and then it actually pulls everything from this and pre-populates it in the format that you want into the final report in the document structure that you've already specified, which was generated at the start of by just pressing a button. So it just takes a lot of the manual tasks out of it. It doesn't mean that you don't need an expert in the loop. You absolutely 100% do. This really just gives you it gives you kind of that source grounding. So you have, say, your documents in a specific location here, and then it's just going to search those. It's not going off and searching the internet. But you may have made your prompt. You'll have built your prompt within the script, and you'll tell it exactly what to do and given it guardrails and how long you want how much information you wanted to give you. So this is very simple. You obviously wouldn't deploy this in a large scale organization, but it's very useful as a tool, and it's kind of the basis. It shows you what is possible. Very simply with someone who has no code skills, i.e. me. Okay, so let's get out of there. So as you can see, they're really not just chatbots, they're very powerful work assistants. So yeah, it's a very exciting time. Okay, so we're just gonna go into the more purpose-built tools. So those are more general tools. These are purpose-built tools for some of the most time-consuming tasks that we do. So this is quite industry specific. So in this case, what we're going to look at is systematic literature review and PMS PMS literature searches. So a new category of specialized platforms has emerged that can help you with this. We're going to look at three of the main players when it comes to this. So DistillerSR, MedBoard, and the evidence platform. So each are quite different, but they do all allow you to do literature searches and literature reviews and PMS searches. So they each have a different philosophy. They have their pros and cons. We're going to dive into them a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to look at the broader platforms first. So DistillerSR and MedBoard are kind of, they're around quite a long time. Well, when I say a long time, that's a few years. But in today's world, that's ages, absolutely ages. Distiller is huge. Distiller is a beast. Its AI is focused on structured, auditable data extraction, and it really works across multiple industries. So this is the research tool. It's not just a life science research tool or a medtech research tool or a pharma research tool. This is across many different industries. So one of its key features in literature review is its daisy rank features. That automatically presents the articles that are the most relevant to your research question to you. So inclusion exclusion fatigue is a real thing. So getting those key papers presented to you first is a real win. I find as Distiller isn't just a medical device and pharma tool, it can have real utility if it's used across a very large organization across multiple functions. So it can be a great tool used well to break down silos. Of course, no project, you can use whatever software you want, and if you don't implement it right, then it's not going to break down silos by magic. That's just not how it works. So you need to sort out your processes first before you bring any software on board. MedBoard, on the other hand, is more of an all-in-one regulatory intelligence platform. This is a really useful tool. So it's tailored to medtech and pharma, and it's really the market leader in that aspect. For this review, though, I'm only going to really look at a sample of the functionality because we want to be able to look at similar items across platforms. So we're going to have a little look at the MedBoard demo. Oops. Yeah. Okay. Minor panic attack averted there. This is where you enter your literature research query. So if they're already built, you just drop them in here. And what I love is that it actually tells you how many results you're going to get, which is great. And then once you just make this a bit bigger, once you get your review, once you get into the review and inclusion exclusion phase, the interface is actually very flexible. So allowing you to tailor your preferences so you can exclude directly from the abstract here, or you can go to the text and just speed this up a little bit. So this is a really new addition to it. So this is where you go to the review assessment card, and you can really see the AI assistance in action here. So analyzing and extracting information from a specific article. So what you can do here is just look at, get the AI to fill in the answer. You can use the suggestion, and when you want to confirm that's where is that in the text, you just click on it and it brings you back to the text document, highlighting the area where it actually is, which I think is just fantastic, because it's one of the things I always worry about, someone just clicking on things and going, yeah, that's grand. That's in this type of industry where precision and clarity is key. You really do need to be able to easily access the information that you want to confirm from. So I really think this is a really useful tool. And I love the side-by-side ability to do that. So as you can see, it allows for a very interactive and dynamic way to engage with the literature. So it's all kind of in the one screen here. Okay, so smaller. We can go back to this. Sorry, I wasn't looking at this in full screen, which I should have been. Okay, so on to the next one. Okay, so this is a deep dive into the EU MDR IVDR clinical specialist. So this is all about evidence platform by For Better Devices. This is the new kid on the block. So this platform is very different because it's hyper focused on EU MDR and IVDR specific workflows. So if you're not doing that, then this is probably not of interest to you. But as you can see from the interface, and it's very clear, guided 3-step process. So plan, execute, and export, and that it does exactly what it says on the tin. So we're just going to have a look here at the oh, right. Lisa, have you not put that in there? Okay. I'm going to have to just retrieve that for us. Should be a problem. Okay. So, okay. So now I'm going to slow this down because whoever sent this to me is an absolute expert, and they are moving much too quickly through it for me to actually be able to explain what is happening. So as you can see here, this is the review wizard, and this is where you build the initial review. So in this case, it's for fever. So as you can see, a lot of these workflows are kind of pre-built for you, so you can jump straight in and start generating reports, especially if you're doing like a PMS report, or you're doing something that like this, for example, you're doing a state of the art and you want to do your clinical background, so the review of the actual condition. So as you can see, the wizard tool helps you get started quickly, and should be finished shortly. Here we go. Okay, so then what happens is you go directly into the literature itself, and your evidence button pops up here down on the right-hand side of the screen. So this is a Chrome connection, and you pick the project that you're working on, and it basically imports all of the studies. So that's it. You've done that part. So that is great. And this, you can see the interactive screen. So this is the dashboard that you use for screening whether something is included or not. So you may be able to tell just from the title and the fact that it has full text, that without even opening it up, that it's going to be included. Or you may need to review the document. And as you can see here, that's quite easy to do. It also very clearly screens your duplicates, shows you what's a duplicate. And here you look at the extraction. So if you actually went away and had a cup of tea and came back, this would pretty much have populated the whole screen. But yeah, it just takes a little while for the AI to produce the result. And then you can go through all of these kind of predetermined areas, so your performance benefits, your underperformance, deterioration of performance. And this will then be populated. You just review it, make any edits to it that you need to, and then you can click back into the text if you need to, and then you can move on to exporting. So yeah, exporting is literally click of a button. You can export either the whole thing, just the plan, just the report. And as you can see here, you have all of your databases and sources already listed. You've got your inclusion criteria, you've got your exclusion criteria, the databases that were searched. You're going to have your Prisma diagrams, and they change. If you go back and change the data, that's going to automatically change in the report as well. So yeah, it really turns it into just a plug-in, do the actual review of the clinical data, but it takes all the formatting part out of it. This is just, it really is a game changer. These kind of technologies are just taking away all of the real pain points, the kind of the 80% of the work that was admin tasks that weren't actually part of the review. It's just it's changed the game. Okay, so I'm gonna go out of here now. Oh yes, hot off the presses. The Irish database, so the HPRA, everyone's favorite PMS database, has just been added. So that definitely makes this into a much more viable tool for using in Ireland. I personally love this screening dashboard where you can see what you've got here on the left, and then you can watch this on-screen bit going down as you screen out tools or screen out papers. Yeah, so really powerful piece of software, very specific for medical devices. Yeah, I hope that's given you a good overview of that. So let's have a look at considerations and trust. So no tool is perfect. You have to understand the trade-offs of functionality. How do you choose? I really think you don't choose. The thing is, it's going to be obvious from what your actual task and role is, what piece of software is going to suit you or what system is going to suit you. There is no point using Distiller if you are a small organization that only is doing one part of this task. On the other hand, if you're a large organization and you really want to join up all of your different silos of data, Distiller can be extremely powerful. Because they're in the market a long time, they are very well trusted. It's a leader, having adopted the NIST AI risk framework. They're 27001 certified themselves. Similarly, MedBoard, if you're looking for an all-in-one pharma and medtech regulatory intelligence platform, that's the tool that you're looking for, because it can do your literature search, but it can also do all of those other things as well. They've just recently renewed their 27001 certification. Well, they've kept it all the time, but I know they had their successful 27001 surveillance the other day with 0 findings. So I think Antonella is here today, so she'll be able to answer any questions you have on MedBoard. Evidence is the newer platform, so some features and database integrations are still in development. However, it's really pre-built industry-specific workflow allows you to just pick it up and start using it straight away. And you really do need to consider the flexibility that their subscription model gives you. Things like Distiller and MedBoard, you're going to be potentially locked into kind of a year-long subscription. That's not the case with Evidence. Now, because they're newer to the market, they are not currently 27001 certified, but they are hosted on an ISO 27001 cloud. And you can again talk to them yourselves if you've got any other questions about that, but they are pursuing their own ISO 27001 certification and 13485 because they're industry specific. So that's all very promising. Okay. So, where does that leave us? So strategic recommendations. So what's the right tool for you? The right tool for you is the one that fits your organization. So the right tool for the job, right sized for the job. So if you're looking for an end-to-end research solution, Distiller could be your man. If your goal is a single source of truth for global regulatory intelligence, really MedBoard, you should consider it. If your focus is specifically EU MDR or IVDR clinical workflows, and you need an efficient tool that's ready to go with pre-built templates, then Evidence is an excellent purpose-built choice. So really the choice is yours. Okay, so back to the kind of the more general journey. So yeah, adopting all of these tools is a journey, whether that's using what 365 and Google are giving you in the workspace now. I really recommend a crawl, walk, run approach. So there's no way to learn without getting your hands on these things. So start now with the low risk tools that you already have, like Copilot and Gemini, to build familiarity. Evaluate the output against what you already do until you're happy with it. So that's essentially your validation step. Use your experience here to decide who and how you're going to monitor it. So this could be a whole other topic that I'd love to get into, but we really don't have time in this forum. Walk, so in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe pilot a specialized tool on a well-defined low-risk project. And then, think about scaling solutions then that have proven their value across the organization. So don't jump into anything too big yet, and make sure that everybody is becoming AI literate, because if everyone's going to be using these tools, then everyone needs to learn about these tools, or at least gain a certain level of competence. So the future is now. Looking ahead, the next big step is AI agents, so autonomous systems that can manage complex multi-step tasks. So it used to seem very much science fiction that you might have an agent that monitors regulatory databases and drafts an impact assessment for you when a relevant change occurs. But that's actually totally possible with a bit of planning and today's tools. That would be a multi-agent tool. It would require a lot of asynchronous orchestration, but it's totally doable. This pace of change in AI really means that our new job as experts in our fields is lifelong learning. So it's not about becoming a data scientist. Nobody needs to become a data scientist. There are plenty of, unless you're a data scientist already, stay as a data scientist. But it's about staying current on what's possible by listening to podcasts, reading newsletters, and following industry leaders. So your domain expertise is still your superpower. So start, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Knowing about AI is really important, but knowing about AI and being an expert in your field is actually what makes it a superpower. Because the tech guys can be AI experts, but they actually don't know anything about your area. And you need to have deep knowledge in a specific area in order to implement AI safely in that area. Start with your existing tools. Start with the secure tools that you already have. Understand your data, and adopt a crawl, walk, run approach. I'd love to dive deeper into the areas of strategies for validation of your tools, or evals as they call it in the AI agent world, continuous monitoring strategies for keeping the costs down, and the varied cost of the different models, but they are changing too quickly to actually even put those on the screen, because the prices could change today, tomorrow. It really is, it would be out of date by the time we finish here. So we really don't have time for more than an overview today. So please feel free to get in touch with me, get in touch with Leap Compliance if there's something that you think would be valuable for your organization. And these are the resources I was telling you about. So this is the Udemy course that it was actually on sale for like $9.99 or something last week, and it was absolutely crazy value. This is the AI Agents Bootcamp that I did, and this was the AI Essentials course that I originally learned. Back in when I was learning about the AI Act. So those are 3 resources that I myself have used. These are my 3 favorite YouTube channels. They're all ladies. That was actually by accident. I didn't do that on purpose. And any questions?
Thanks very much for that, Lisa. I really enjoyed that. And, you know, those tools are 3 really great tools. They all have such amazing functionality. But I totally agree with you when you say, you know, it's the right size tool for your organization. If you are a very large organization, you might want to buy the all singing, all dancing one, you know, but that potentially may have a lot more setup lead time, a lot more work to put into it, and it might have higher costs, etc. You know, it's a whole Goldilocks. You're going to have to try your porridges and then figure out which one is the right one for you. So definitely agree. Get an idea of what your user needs are first before you kind of go out there and try and figure out which tool you want. In terms of questions, we do have one that was popped into the Q&A. If you do have any questions, please throw them into the Q&A bubble. We'd love to hear from you. One question we have there at the moment is there a way to apply filters on the literature search for specific registered jurisdictions?
I think that's more of a question on the literature search tools for evidence or
yeah, it did pop in when you were doing a demo of the tools.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it is possible to do that, but that would not be I'm pretty sure that question is not for me.
Well, if there's anybody still on the call from Distiller MedBoard evidence, if you pop an answer to that in the chat, if it's pertaining to your tool. Has anybody got any more questions at the moment? Another one. In terms of making things faster, is there any particular process that you've used AI to speed up, and you know, what were the wins?
Yeah, definitely. I would have been spending about half a day once a month on, well, at least half a day on getting ready for our monthly CAPA review. And now I spend maybe half an hour. That's all I spend on it, because the data is all pulled together. I really just need to have a look over it and create a summary report with the summarization tool, and then I read over it, make sure it all makes sense, and then it's ready for the meeting. That's that. So I used AI to help me build the kind of the Excel dashboards, etc. So it's not actually, there's no AI in the tool. It's just a way of teaching someone like me who's an idiot how to use Excel and the functionality that's already there, and then use it to kind of pull all of the information over from the different programs that we're using to track activities. So things like Jira, other Excel sheets, all of that kind of stuff. So it's very good at figuring out ways of pulling together all of your disorganized data, which is extremely useful for me. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, and another one, Lisa, how do you find the quality of the information that you get from the AI tools?
You need to ask the questions properly. So we could have gone into, I'm going to give you a template for creating prompts, but prompts are your way. way of communicating with an AI. And the better your prompt is, the better information you're going to get back, because you need to be very specific. We ask questions in a very unstructured way, and then we expect, because when we're talking to people, we're coming from the same background and we have the same kind of underlying learning and everything, and we expect people to infer things from automatically, whereas an AI kind of isn't like that. So you need to ask it questions in a very specific way, so that it understands the context of the questions. If you ask the questions in a structured way, you can get some really excellent responses. I've also found there's a great difference between different tools, different models. So ChatGPT can be extremely wordy. I find Gemini for a science background is much it's much more concise, and seems to be less likely to kind of hallucinate and make things up and put little pictures and things, which drives me insane. It's like, I don't need a picture. I don't need a little man running beside it, and then I'm going to have to delete him.
I know. Sometimes it just gets carried away with itself, filling in the missing gaps that it can't find. So it just makes it up. So yeah, it's good to make sure you're getting factual information, you're checking your sources. There's another one here. If you're optimizing a QMS to be readable to AI, it should be predominantly text-based. However, readability for humans would be optimized using a visual QMS with as many graphics as possible. How do you think is the best way to combine these two goals?
Not necessarily. So yeah, you can use tools that allow a lot of pattern recognition. You can so I've actually used I'm doing a lot of work on a particular tool, but it's the initial Excel tool that you saw there was really only able to read Word documents. And then I've gotten to the stage where it can read PDF documents, it can analyze Excels, it can look at drawings and analyze those, tables, anything like that. So anything then that can be recognized by pattern recognition, it can read. So it's really just it depends on what you've told it what tools you've handed it. So you need to hand it the right tools.
Yeah, you do. And readability of humans would be optimized using visual QMS with many graphics. How do you think it's the best way? And I think you can always combine, like any system I've ever used always has the two things. You can look at the deep dive view of anything or look at the dashboard view, and I think it's good to have both myself personally.
Yeah, I love visual. I'm a big fan of visual process flows, all that kind of stuff, but that's just because we're most used to seeing things like ChatGPT, where it's a text-based interface, that doesn't mean everything is like that. So please go into Google AI Studio and then get it and run a bit, like watch YouTube through it and see how it interacts with it. It will blow your mind. Anyway.
Something for me to do now for the rest of the afternoon. Lisa, thanks very much. As you can see, Lisa's showing a slider just to let you know there are some courses available if you would like to go on. Rob Bezaville is delivering EU MDR for us next week across 4 half days. We also have a course on clinical evaluation for medical devices in October, and one on ISO 14971 risk management in November. There is also e-learning available on process validation, and it's available in multiple languages, as well as some training e-learning available on software as a medical device and in-house training on quality culture as well. Lisa is obviously also available for consulting, so global regulatory market access strategy, QMS and technical documentation remediation, clinical evaluation and literature review, and AI workflow integration and process optimization. So there's an awful lot there. Feel free to reach out to us. I'm at info@leadcompliance.com, and Lisa is at lisa@donlansc.com. Is it?
Donlan LSC.
LSC.com.
LSC, sorry. Life Science Consulting.
I'm looking there. So do get a hold of us. You can also contact us on LinkedIn. Please feel free to also connect with us on LinkedIn as well. We'd love to connect with you. So thank you very much for everyone being here. Oh, I have another question before we go. Yes, I agree. It seems the role of regulatory specialists will change due to AI. But I think what you were saying about the superpower is the ability to use AI to make your life easier, but also your superpower,
Yeah,
is being that regulatory expert.
Yeah, exactly. I really think that that you need to be that person who has both skills, and that will kind of bulletproof you. I just don't think it's an option anymore to just go, no, I'm not going to keep up with this, or you just end up being like my Auntie Nora, who I have to press accept on her iPhone screen every time I go down home to Galway because she's too afraid to press the buttons. So we don't want to be Auntie Nora.
We don't want to be Auntie Nora. Oh my goodness.
No.
I won't tell you said that. She's not on the call, is she?
No, she's definitely not on the call.
She's definitely not on the call.
Kill me. Also, this is the second time I've told this anecdote, so I'm going to be struck down.
Oh, it's awful altogether, Lisa. Altogether. We will be sharing the slides, I've seen, and what we will do is we will share a recording. We will share the slides. Lisa's also got a couple of extra things that she's mentioned along the way that she will also be sharing. And we will also share a link to all the tools. And I see that Medi has been nice enough to share a link to evidence for me already there in the chat, but we will share a link to all of the tools. And I want to thank everyone for coming here today, and some amazing tools. Thanks for sharing them with us, Lisa. I think for everyone who has their own different situation right now, there's use cases for all of them. They all have their benefits. So thanks very much for sharing, Lisa, and thanks very much for being here with us today.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your attention, and thanks for your time. So appreciated. Thanks, Katie.
Perfect. Everybody, thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of your day or rest of your evening. Please have a look on the LinkedIn page for Lead Compliance. We have every month we have another webinar that you can join to learn more, and looking forward to sharing more with you. Thank you very much, and everyone have a lovely day.